It's been some pretty crazy driving today, and it's already 7:15. We haven't gotten to camp yet because the one cruiser just landed on its roof. We don't know what's going on. My name is Jana, and I'm part of the marketing team for Alu-Cab. I have somehow managed to convince my bosses to allow me to take some of our Alu-Cab kitted vehicles out when I go camping. I then try my hand at filming these adventures so that I can share them with you. In this specific series, I'll be taking the 76 Land Cruiser with the Alu-Cab Thor roof conversion all the way to Namibia. So stay tuned for some ups and downs, as well as some pretty epic scenery through the Namibian dunes and more. We were heading further into the Namib desert, and soft sand driving skills as well as vehicles were being put to the test. It was like being on a roller coaster, and the adrenaline rush was better than a morning coffee. After a quick lunch, we were off again, and we got the idea that this day will not be without any recoveries. In fact, we were only getting started. Today we were going to be traveling through and over what is called linear dunes. We drove through the streets, which are essentially the flatter pieces of sand before having to jump over a dune to get over the other side. We are traveling from east side of the desert to the west. Our end destination, the coastal town of Walvis Bay. Okay, day 2 of the Live the Journey phases of the Namib tour. I'm sitting here on a dune. There's a little bit of sand. We're going through a dip or going over a dune, and it's quite intense. Someone is stuck down there, Carl, in the other Alu-Cab fitted Land Cruiser. Simon is waiting on that side to go over. It's 5 p.m. now. We left the camp spot in the riverbed at about 9:30 this morning, and we've just been driving the whole day. After we head over this last dune, we are going to look for a camp spot for the night. And it's New Year's Eve, so tonight should be a good one. I think with this group it might be quite the party. So yeah, looking forward to that. Tomorrow is the start of 2022. Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Let's see if Carl gets out of this bowl. Yes.
Asombrei, namu jom gooi.
Ja, maar ja.
Jy, nee. Dis dit klaar 3 Louise.
Ja, klaar 3 laat.
Staga, net daai afpad. Nou boys net hierdie afetjie.
Okay.
Alright.
Kan maar gooi.
Okay, sien ons.
So that is Nick Andre, our tour guide's son. And he's like, what, 19 months old, but he loves running and he just runs away actually all the time. Andre actually had to drive off into the dunes earlier to go and look for him because he runs so fast and he just bolts and then he's gone. Luckily he has the little red top on, so he's easy to spot. I just took a nap to prepare for tonight so I can make it until 12. It's very nice and cozy in here. If I zip up the windows, it's super dark and it's still very light out. Some of the other people are still setting up camp. That's what it looks like. They've made a fire over there. So that's where we'll all be chilling tonight. So yeah, just putting on something warm. It's quite windy. And then we are just going to take it very easy all the way into 2022. It definitely wasn't a bad place to be going into the new year at. In the middle of the desert, far away from COVID, and with absolutely no cell phone signal. The next morning, spirits were high and we were eager to explore further into the desert. The Alu-Cab shower cube worked great for bathroom breaks or just quick outfit changes. Even though you can get dressed in the vehicle when the roof is popped up, it was still nifty to be able to deploy some privacy when you needed it. On this particular day, Simon and I were driving second in line of the convoy, and in front of us, Andre, our tour guide, was always making sure the dunes are safe to cross before he lets us know that we can follow in his tracks. Sometimes a route just wasn't feasible and he had to find another way over or around a dune. It's safe to say we never knew what was waiting on us, and Andre's skill to guide us was super impressive. And then we hit what we thought would be the biggest recovery of the day. This tour member came up the dune with too much speed and almost ended up going over the other side. To get him out of his predicament, they needed the power of the tour guide's Hilux as well as our 76 Land Cruiser. Other than the wind being relentless, this was a quick recovery thanks to our expert guides. The wind is currently blowing so strongly that the whole car is moving. It feels very weird. It's been some pretty crazy driving today, and it's already 7:15. We haven't got into camp yet because the one cruiser just landed on its roof. We don't know what's going on. Andre, our guide, is trying to get back, but he just got stuck and Simon had to get him out there. Okay, sorry, so just an update. Andre, our guide, went back to recover the Land Cruiser that somehow toppled over. We don't know the full story yet. We're all waiting. Most of the convoy is up there on the dune. Simon and I are down here because we were right behind Andre, the guide. So yeah, we're just waiting for them to get back because apparently they got the cruiser back on its wheels now. So yeah, we're just thankful everybody's okay. I'll let you know what the full story is once they get back, but the only thing that's kind of stressful is that the sun is setting very quickly and we still need to get to camp, and obviously you can't drive around in dunes in the dark, so not quite sure what we're going to do. It's yeah, it's really starting to get real. Simon is out there taking photos with his goggles. He had a great idea of bringing like motorbike goggles with, and in this wind it is very, very handy. But yeah, let's see what happens. Fingers crossed that everything works out okay. And definitely going to be a few interesting campfire stories tonight.
Jana laughed at me when I said I'm gonna bring my
It's a great idea.
Now it's working very well.
We couldn't do much but to sit around and wait. At least the sunset was nice, although I'm pretty sure it was a little bit nicer from where the rest of the convoy was waiting. Our fear of the dark has become a reality, and we were now driving to camp in the dunes at night. The spotlights we had mounted on our vehicle made a big difference, and it helped Andre guide the rest of the group to us. Okay, so it's Jana from Alu-Cab from the future here. I'm actually busy editing the video, and I've been thinking of how I'm going to tell this story to portray how epic it actually was, and I thought, let me just tell the story like it actually happened. Because obviously in that time I wasn't focused on filming because there was an actual crisis at hand. Not that much of a crisis, but when you're driving in the dunes at night, it's indescribable, but let me try. So what actually happened is Simon and I and Andre were ahead in the convoy, and everybody was following us, but there's always one guide at the back who sweeps the convoy and to make sure everybody gets over the obstacles or over the dunes. So we were far ahead, and we just got this message from Johnny at the back saying the cruiser fell over, and that's all we could hear because we were too far away for the radio to to pick up where we were. So Andre had to turn around, leave Simon and I where we were down below, leave the rest of the convoy who he was supposed to guide down to where we were, where they were. So everybody had to stay put. He went all the way back to where the toppled over cruiser was, and Johnny and I think 2 other vehicles, and then they had to recover the cruiser. So luckily it didn't fall on its roof like we thought. It just toppled over when it was trying to get out of kind of the same little bowl as you saw earlier in the video. So they pulled it back onto its wheels. One of the wheels popped off, so they had to put that back on. That took some time, and obviously we were fighting against time. And yes, by the time they were done, it was already dark. So then, this is what Andre did, and this is what is so unbelievably respectable. He made this plan, so he took the 2 vehicles who helped them recover the vehicle and Johnny back to camp, guided them there. They started to set up camp. He found his way in the dark back to the convoy that was waiting at the top. Simon and I shone the spotlight so that he could guide them down a dune to where we were, and then he guided us all the way back to camp, which was about actually just 5 or 10 minutes away, but obviously we had to go down a massive slip face in and around dunes. We would have never found the way. So it was super impressive. It's an experience I would never forget, and it just made me realize why you pay to go on tours like this. Yes, you pay for the amazing views and experiences and the catering, but you also pay, and this is the most important part, for amazing guides who know how to navigate the wilderness and you know, have a calm and collected presence wherever and whatever we're doing. So yes, kudos to Live the Journey for giving me one of the best and most memorable experiences ever so far. And yeah, let's watch further. It was very relieving to get back to camp and finally sit around the fire and exchange stories of the day. It was great to wake up the next morning as well and to finally see where we were actually camping, because it was extremely misty, and the mist meant we were very close to the ocean, which is essentially our end destination.
Ja, dit is. Wie wil lekker een ander foto? Chicken.
So that little bird is a dune lark, and you only find them here in Namibia. So somebody else on the trip told us just now that people would pay millions to see this little bird if they want to tick him off their list. Much excitement in camp about the dune lark.
Right, 1, 2, keep it in 2, drive. Second, keep it in second, put it in 3. Okay, go. Give it all. Well done. Ja, hoe meer dan, maar niet breking. Daar moet je aflopen. 1 en 2. Ja, zo 2, en nou weer 3. En dan gewoon 4. Tot een morgen. Ah, nee. Zal ik even naar gedaan met afstand. En dan gaan we een hele beetje tot voor. Hij is rond, zoals een asfalt. Ah, nee. Mooi voorbij. Stay for him.
So this is the cruiser that fell on its side yesterday. Everything is fine, all the Alu-Cab equipment, all good. The only damage is this little dent at the front. Pretty amazing. Luckily it was only 2 people in the car, so not the whole family. So all was good. It just fell onto its side, onto its left side, and then they just had to pull it back straight onto its wheels, change the tires, and it was off again. So we're playing around in this bowl, and Simon got to that point, and yeah, now I have a feeling he's going to have to reverse all the way down and then come up on the other side. Oh my gosh. I'm not in the car, partly because I'm taking photos, but mostly because this is terrifying. After a bit of fun and trial and error, we headed off for some sightseeing. It felt and looked like we were driving on a moon landscape. Literally just felt like we were lifting off in an airplane. And we've made it to the ocean, crossed all the way through the dunes, and now finally we are looking at a sea of water instead of a sea of dunes. And that is that for this week's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below. In next week's video, we visit some cool spots before we head out of the Namib desert back into civilization.